Welcome back to another segment of Lady Mogul Talk, and today we have award-winning entrepreneur Renata Brown. We are so happy to have you here, and just a little bit about her. She is the CEO of DreamSpire TV and DreamSpire Publications, and her zeal for the arts and motivational speaking comes from being an artist. She's also the publisher of not one, but three magazines, Spire.me, which is an arts and entertainment magazine, and mspire.com, which is also, it highlights entrepreneurs, and DreamSpire Books for authors and motivators. So we are excited to have you here today. I can't wait to get into some of the awards. I don't want to spoil it just yet, but some of the awards that you have been honored with and just your experience as an entrepreneur and creative. So welcome.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you. I guess I'm going to have to update my bio. We got a lot of things going on, so we'll get into some of the updates in a minute.
Yes, I'm excited to jump into it. And so let's go ahead. Tell us, what did we miss? Because there's so much that we could really cover with your bio. So I guess we'll just start with the conversation. What got you started in entrepreneurship? Did you just fall into it, or did you know that this is always something that you would be a part of?
I have always been in the creative space. I mean, literally since I was a little girl. At 4 years old, I was singing in choirs. At 8 years old, I was writing poetry. So the creativity has always been in my blood, as well as entrepreneurship. At 15, I started my first bootleg business. I'm going to say bootleg because it truly was. I was making plaques out of wood shop, taking orders, those little plaques that used to hang on your door with your name on them. So I started way back then, but let's just fast forward to what we do with DreamSpire Publications and DreamSpire TV. And that, I almost can say that I did fall into it, because I used to do an award show called the GANSPA Awards. That's a mouthful. It stood for Gifted Artist, Neo Soul, and Poetry Awards. And with that, we had online voting every year. And through that voting, we always got like a big uptick during that 6-week voting period. So I literally started the first magazine just as a way to keep in contact with the people on the award show. And it kind of just grew from there. And before I knew it, we were interviewing people like Felicia Rashad, Dr. Matthew Knowles, and so many other people. And then we just wanted to do something in the entrepreneurial space. So we started Inspire, which is E is for entrepreneur, M is for motivator, and then I'm an author. And so we started something for authors, and that's our fastest growing space. We have over 250 authors that are a part of the DreamSpire Books platform, as well as we have about 29 shows in the can. So we're on different platforms like Roku and Amazon Fire, and also Apple TV. So yeah, it kind of just like that proverbial snowball that just kept going down and getting bigger along the way.
And we're going to definitely get into some of your streaming platforms a little bit later, because that is coming into the forefront more and more. But you actually have been a trailblazer for streaming before it became popular. But before we get into that, I want to highlight, you said you put on an award show, but you have also been awarded. You're an award-winning entrepreneur and creative. So tell me, what was it like to be recognized by the Stellar Awards and NAACP? That is amazing.
Well, we weren't recognized by them. We covered them with our media. So as a media outlet, we get to cover the Stellar Awards and the NAACP Awards. Well, from your lips to God's ear, maybe one day I'll be in front of the stage, but right now we're behind the camera with those.
But that's still pretty amazing. And so maybe not recognized with an award, but to be on that level of a platform, I mean, it's just quite an honor, I'm sure, just to be there to cover it.
Oh, absolutely. To be with the NAACP Awards, to be backstage. This year was virtual because
Mhm.
of, COVID. But just to be virtually backstage with people like Viola Davis, that was amazing. And to be able just to see her graciousness and humility and her husband right there by her side as she was answering questions. So that was pretty cool.
And as we've highlighted so far, just within this short time, you have accomplished so much. And so I know that there have been challenges along the way. So for those who are going through their own challenges and just seeing the success that you are continue to experience, what advice do you have for them to persevere through maybe like trauma or grief? What advice can you give them?
I would say be consistent. Just stay in there, because as long as you do something every day. I started that practice a long time ago. Uh, every single day, do something toward your business, toward your
Mhm.
goal, and sometimes it's big steps, and sometimes it's baby steps, and sometimes you just literally crawling. Okay, so whatever it is, I find that consistency, showing up, being there, and that will allow you to those doors to open.
Mhm.
I heard Steve Harvey say one time a long time ago on the radio, said half the things that he achieved is because he was there, he showed up. And we can get a lot accomplished if we show up, because
Mhm.
sometimes, we don't. We want to just put our heads under the cover and say, we'll try this another day. And that's okay.
It
If
is.
you got to stay under the cover for a minute, an hour, and sometimes a day, but just get up and get back up and be consistent in what you do.
That is so true. And we tend to be the hardest people on ourselves, especially women, especially black women at that. We tend to say we have to do it all in one day. And I've learned that I've had to give myself grace, even more grace than usual because of my own personal health story. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't make me lazy just because I can't do it today. I just am not up to doing it. So we really do need to give ourselves that grace. And when you say crawling, yes, sometimes we do have to crawl, and then other days we'll be able to conquer the day. So I'm so glad that you shared that with our audience.
You're welcome. And you said the key word, grace. And we really, I had that a conversation yesterday about, we have to be full of grace toward others, and especially toward ourselves too, and give ourselves permission to rest if we need to rest. um, some people know this about me, others don't. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia many years ago, before they even like knew what it was. I
Mhm.
honestly, I thought the diagnosis was just about them not having anything else. They were like, okay, you got this. Now, will you leave us alone? But I understand that if my body says rest,
Mhm.
even though I might have 10,000 things on my plate, I have to take that time to rest. I have to
Mhm.
take that time to reset, because it'll be better. It'll be great, as they say, greater later, if I go ahead and take that time versus just trying to push and soldier through it, and all of that. I love that. We have to be full of grace and show grace and patience toward ourselves as well.
That's true, and I'm glad that you mentioned that as well because we're in the same in a way. I have autoimmune disease, and so there are some days when it's really, really hard for me, just mentally, to be there, and I'm like, I want to do something, but I just can't. I just, it gets hard. So we do, like you said, like we both said, we have to give ourselves grace and patience. That's true. I need to remind myself to be patient, that it all doesn't have to happen in one day. And say the cliche goes, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes when we think things are falling apart, they're really just falling together.
That
And
is so true.
you have to keep that in mind, definitely.
Definitely. So I always love to be able to give entrepreneurs advice when they're first starting out, because a lot of people do come to this platform to seek advice of how to start or grow their business. So what is one thing that you wish you had known when you first started your publications and entrepreneurial ventures?
That's a good question. What is one thing I wish I have known? I guess I wish I had known more about the business because I kind of just jumped and understand. But I think the most important thing for entrepreneurs um, is to start,
Hmm.
and don't be afraid to start, because sometimes you want to get every duck in a row, and and before you know it, a year's gone by, 2 years gone by, 5 years gone by. We work with a lot of authors, and a lot of times, they might start that book and many many years go by. So the biggest thing I could say, if it would be advice, and it maybe not so much before I started, but in the journey, is to go ahead and start, because you know what, you're gonna, just like a baby, you're gonna fall, you're gonna skin, but those are all, I think life teaches us two things: is either lessons or blessings, and sometimes the lesson is truly the blessing. So if you fall down and you skin, just get back up. I guess the infrastructure, if I did, to stay on point, on topic, is make sure your infrastructure. I would have had a much stronger infrastructure, because we kind of just grew so quick and really expanded so quickly that
Hmm.
sometimes I feel like even now I'm catching up with myself. So make
Hmm.
sure you have those systems, those automated systems in place. Make sure that you really surround yourself with a team. And sometimes a team doesn't have to be 5 or 6 people. Get you one good person that just got you and in your corner and understands your vision, and willing to rock with you. So I would say that, look at the infrastructure, uh, look at your accounting, all those yucky, not so fun things that us creatives don't like to do. It's important. It really is.
That's true. And you said so many great things just right there. First of all, systems is what I'm all about. So, yes, that is something I wish I would have known too in the beginning. And so that's why I strive to tell others, start your systems as soon as you can, because, like you, I had to play catch up with some of the things and the tools, and had to go back and redo infrastructure. And I wish I had known that in the beginning of my journey. But then you also said something else that was key about perfection, and perfection and procrastination are the number one killers of business. It was the killer in some of my projects. And so then when I finally dropped it, people were like, "Oh, I've been waiting for this." And if I had dropped it earlier and just tweaked it along the way, I probably could have made more money early on. So that is what you said is so point on, so right on about procrastination, perfection, and those systems. All of that really does play a pivotal role in growing your business.
Absolutely. And I want to just a point of clarity. Waiting and procrastination are two different things, because sometimes we wait and it's not time for us to go. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
that's hard too, because we're like on your mark, get set, and we don't hear that starting pistol, and but we go anyway, and we jump the gun and we're disqualified, or we face a penalty for going too soon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to wait, just don't procrastinate.
Yeah.
So make sure, I guess the biggest work I say that anybody ever does is to be in alignment. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you're in alignment, then you're moving as things should move, and going as you should go. And I think that's really the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. And on your timing, not other people's timing and what they tell you you should be doing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Now, I want to go back to what we mentioned earlier about your streaming platforms. And it's just so amazing just getting to know you with our conversations before the segment about what you do and how you highlight entrepreneurs is just really wonderful. So, what made you get into the streaming space before streaming became a popular platform?
Well, I guess half of it is because I'm a creative nerd. Okay. I think I need to coin that. Creative nerd. I've always been fascinated with systems and everything. So I was introduced to the streaming world way back in 2008. And people were like, oh, people are never going to be watching stuff on their computer and on their phone. What is that all about? But it was fascinating to me, because it was a way to really literally bring the world together. So
Mhm.
when you're on stream, you're not limited to your audience. You're not limited to the people in front of you. So it fascinated me to be able to reach the world and really to get your voice out. Every single platform that I have is about giving people an opportunity to amplify their voice. And whatever platform I am, I'm like, I want to, the biggest bullhorn that I can have, I want to be able to share and have people, because I've had the privilege of knowing a lot of people. If I probably counted the people through my life that I've been connected with, I'm sure would be close to 1 million, and that's literally, not figuratively. And so I know so many amazing people like you and so many others. And my goal is for other people to meet other people and to connect and to give them the platforms to do that.
Mhm. And I'm sure that's how you are so successful in your own business. I just started reading, I'm a part of this group called The Morning Meetup, and it's a book that we're reading called Who Not How. And it's talking about the importance of having a who in your corner, someone who can connect you to those right people. And I'm sure you've had people who have been your who. You have to read the audience, you have to read the book to understand the context, but I'm sure you understand you've had people who have been your who to connect you to places, and then you've also been that who for other people. So just thank you so much for what you do, and wanting to highlight entrepreneurs and provide opportunities. And I love what you said about amplifying the voice, because so many people, they are looking for ways for their voice to be amplified, but you go ahead and showcase that for them. You're that person that's able to connect them to the world.
Well, thank you. And that, yeah, I've had some who's in my life, and I still have some who's in my life, and it's so humbling when I look at the who's. I was speaking to one of our magazine affiliates, because we're starting to bring on magazine affiliates as well, and we're talking about some of the people we had an opportunity to interview. And she's like, "How do you know them? How do you get them?" I was just like, I've just been blessed to have those connections and have some amazing, I mean, truly amazing people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it really is humbling. It's humbling for sure.
Now, I know that you always have something up your sleeve, so this is the perfect place to plug in what is next for you and your DreamSpire TV and publications, your magazines, and then how can someone who would like to become involved with your platform, how would they go about that?
So what's next? I'm excited because we're going to launch our own Roku channel, and it's been a long time coming. You'd have thought I would have had one by now. We're in distribution on Roku and StreamYard and all that, so we have shows that are out there, which is awesome. But it was just time to launch our channel, so we're looking to launch in around November, and then do a full-on launch. Q1 of 2022. That sounds so weird to say, but it'll be here before we know it. So we're excited. We're going to be producing shows. We're going to be. I meet today about developing a show. Uh, I'm so excited to be able to just have our channel and have 24-hour programming. So that's going to open up a whole lot of opportunities for other people as well, for us. What we do on the author side, DreamSpire Books, we're revamping that show. So in 2022, boy, look out! We're doing a lot of things with our magazine. We're bringing the Arts and Entertainment magazine, Spire, under the DreamSpire TV umbrella. So that publication is being rebranded to DreamSpire TV. So we'll all be one there. So, and then we are bringing a whole nother dimension to creativity, and we are doing a magazine for crafters and a show for crafters, because everything that I do is also my passion. I sing, I write, I'm an entrepreneur, and I grew up in La La Land, as I call it, Southern California. So I grew up around the celebrity space, so it's kind of always been a part of that. But I've always crafted. visual artist. I'm a certified web and graphic designer. And I was like, why isn't that not represented in my platform? And it's still in that creative vein. So I'm very excited to shine a light on crafters. It's a $36 billion industry. And a lot of times people that look like you and I are really not replicated there, are not um, represented rather there. And so I was like, okay, this little light of mine, we're going to shine on this craft stuff as well and the arts.
And everything, as you mentioned earlier, alignment is just a testament to your passion and your want to help others to achieve their greater level. So I think that's just so great that you are doing something specifically for crafters. And that's another industry that we've heard about, but it's coming more and more into the forefront, but it's still not quite where it should be. So you taking this step is just another way for crafters to get the recognition that they deserve. So thank you just for being a trailblazer in your own right for so many initiatives.
Well, thank you. In my head, it all makes sense. So we're moving forward. I don't know, maybe because I do all those things, I really do have a passion. And so we have a website that brings everything. So you don't have to go to this website and that website, even though we have different websites for each of our silos. You can go to DreamSpire Media. So that's the word dream, the word spire, SPIRE, in media.com. And you'll find everything right there. What we're doing, what we've done, and links to how to be involved with our platform, all right there at dreamspiremedia.com.
Well, we certainly want to thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. Are there any last words you would like to leave with our audience?
Um, like I iterated before, be consistent, be full of grace, and be full of optimism. We know that in the times we live in, sometimes that's hard to do, but give yourself a time out, give yourself a good talking to, and show yourself love. And just keep on doing what you're doing. You'll get there. Absolutely, you will.
Wonderful words to live by. Thank you so much for spending again part of your day with us. And we will see you next week for another segment of Lady Mogul Talk. Bye, everyone.